Serious. What are some creepy, unexplainable events or encounters from your life? I was alone in my 2-story house, stayed behind because I was sick, and the family went to visit a friend of my dad's. Was reading in the living room, back when I used to read a lot, when at noon on the dot came what sounded like footsteps upstairs, really noticeable due to the hardwood floors up there. I brushed it off for about 2 seconds, when they slowly walked to the room right above me, stopping exactly above me. I stared horrified at the ceiling, trying to rationalize what it could be, but my pets were outside, no one else came home, and the upstairs windows were painted shut. Then came 2 stomps from whatever it was above me in that room before silence. I honestly waited a good hour before working the courage to go check it out. I found my shoes in that spot, neatly put together, with toes pointed my direction. Still don't know what happened. I had an imaginary family, even a dog. I'd tell everyone my parents were looking after me until my real parents came to get me. My imaginary dad was a boxer in the army. I was convinced they were going to take me away. My imaginary mom was just beautiful. My dog was a little black dog called Barney. I'm not sure when exactly I stopped seeing them, but it was later than what would be considered normal. When I was in my 20s, I lost a baby. About 4 weeks after, I contemplated suicide. The day I was going to do it, I woke up to my imaginary mom just sat on the bed next to me, telling me not to be so silly and to be strong. She hugged me so tight, and it was like all the pain melted away for a moment. I woke up the next day, and life didn't seem so terrible anymore. My deceased grandma used to have a game that I played with my sister, where the goal was to lose all your money as fast as possible. The game included a small casino and a roulette table. We inherited the game when my grandma passed away. We found the game again when we were around 15 to 16 years old. My sister and I jokingly started asking questions like, if you had a dog named X land on black 15, and it did. We asked more specific questions with specific numbers the ball had to land on, and honestly, it worked every single time. Creeped me out at first, but later I was glad and got kind of emotional because of it. Because of this, I believe I will see my loved ones again later, and I feel like my grandma is watching over me. Also, I think she's doing good, and she suffered a lot when she was dying, so that gave me some peace. I was at a friend's house a few months ago, and he invited 2 other people. We were in his room, playing video games and talking about girls. Typical high school shit. Then all of a sudden, the person who invited me over and I heard loud sets of footsteps in his living room or kitchen, like work boots on a wood floor. We were confused because we knew we were the only ones in the house, despite having dogs and cats, but they were small dogs and cats. They couldn't have made those loud of footsteps. I checked throughout the house but found no one, but his laundry room door was opened, which was strange, so I check and no one. I walk back up to his room and I hear it again 5 minutes later. Now I'm a bit disturbed, but not yet scared, so I check throughout the house again and no one. Now I go back to his room, and it's been like 45 minutes, when we all hear the door slam against the wall and heavy footsteps run up the stairs. I shut the door as fast as possible and try to keep it closed with all my might, and it's barely closed. My friend has a pellet gun powered by CO2, and we count down to 3, and I open the door and he shoots it, but no one was there. He shot his window, and no one was slamming against his bedroom door. We all talked about it, and never decided to tell anyone until now, since I'm telling you. To this day, it can't be explained. I've been back to his house, but after that night, it hasn't happened again. I vividly saw spirits, or demons, as a kid. Few instances. When I was 5, I vividly saw a buffalo's skull with glowing eyes through a glass window at my grandparents' house when no one was home, and turned to my cousin. If she saw anything, She told me with the utmost confidence and flat voice, "God is just testing you to see if you're scared of anything besides Him." At the same house, 6, in the backyard, I was playing in the backyard, and I was alone and it was dark. I saw giant, veiny cat eyes glowing in the dark, slowly gazing towards me as I ran away in panic. I had panic attacks, and everyone was just saying, "God is testing you to see if you're scared of anyone but Him." I was 8, and I was just watching a movie while I felt the urge to turn my head to the hallway, and there was a tall, pale white woman with dark hair covering her face in a white, lacy, long wedding gown, going towards the kitchen while I was in the living room. I chased after, and there was nothing. My parents kept saying the same "God is just testing you" thing. I'm still freaked out by this. When I was younger, I lived in a very old house. It was across from a church that had filled in underground tunnels, which were used as a tunnel for monks to go to and from the church to pray and whatnot. When my brother was just learning to speak, my mom had him on her bed drying his hair. In her bedroom, there was a small staircase to a 3rd-story gallery beside the attic. My brother happened to be deadpan staring at the stairs until he said, while pointing, "Look, Mummy, the men are walking up the stairs." My grandfather told me the monks likely used the gallery to pray. There's more. My grandfather was painting the bathroom when we moved in, but the moment he stepped into the bathroom, he was hit with a foul smell, which to this day he claims was the nastiest thing he'd ever smelled. He felt a presence in the room and asked politely to leave him alone aloud, and that he was simply trying to paint the bathroom for his daughter. The smell instantly went. I have one story from my own experience which my mom can't remember, but I do. I was asleep, clutching my mom's arm around the age of 4 or 5, and I woke up in the middle of the night. I opened my eyes and looked to the window where I saw a clear face staring at me. Too young to understand the severity of the situation, I simply asked my mom, "Mummy, what is the man doing in the window?" And she said, "It's just a window cleaner. It's fine." Her reaction fills me with dread when I think about it. She must have been so frightened she lied to protect me. I still remember what the face looked like, and I've always wondered what the fuck it was, paranormal or not. I can ask my family for more stories, if anyone's interested. As a 5-year-old kid, I went to a book fair with my mom. We were picking out books and got separated from each other by no more than 10 feet or so, when this hippie-looking dude approached me. He was kneeling and was close to me and speaking just above a whisper. He said to me that he was the photographer for our local newspaper, and he was taking pictures of the kids picking out books for an article. He asked me if I would like to be in the papers, and if I could smile for him. I listened to him. He proceeded to take a couple of pictures. Then he asked me who I was with, which was when my mom must have noticed what was happening and came over to me. She quickly said she was my mother, asked for his name, and said we'd better be going. My mom told me years later that there was no article in the paper about the book fair, and she scoured photographs credited to his name, never found a match. She considered calling the police about it, but she felt like a man that bold in his pursuits was methodical enough to use an assumed name. When I was younger, I used to have this strange thing happen when I was trying to fall asleep. Basically, I'd be laying down in the commonly accepted most comfortable position for hot summer days, stomach down, head on pillow facing sideways, one leg straight, and the other pulled up, one arm under the pillow and the other on top. It happened in any position, but I noticed it more in this position. Just as I was trying to fall asleep, I would feel the distinct feeling of a person sitting down on the corner of the bed. It would go away if I moved, or if I waved my leg down in that corner. But just when I started settling in, it would happen again. It felt exactly like a person was slowly lowering themselves down to sit on that corner. Now, I know people are going to say it was restless leg syndrome, or a waking dream, or sleep paralysis, but the weird part is that no matter how I changed positions, it was always the same corner of the bed, southwest, i.e., I lay on my back, so my opposite leg is there, the same problem. I turn sideways or reverse, so my head is near that corner, and it is still that corner. I'm not a believer in the paranormal, but it was definitely weird, and it used to terrify me as a child. I also have had waking dream, sleep paralysis experiences, and while they do seem very real, it is distinctly different from when this occurs. It hasn't happened in a long time, but I never did figure that one out.